Have you had any experience where a child or young person has just stroke or touch you, person or child you do not know, or maybe you're a SEND parent and you know your child tends to do that, or you work with young people and you've noticed a particular child who always stand too close to you or to other children, they don't seem to understand personal space, and you've wondered why? Well, keep watching because I'll be discussing these children. On this channel, I post videos that are important to us and SEND communities and SEND families, and so keep watching if you're interested. And so in this video, I'll be talking about some of our children. So this is a part 2 of a part 1 video, which had the title "Why Autistic or SEND Children Are Picky with Their Meals and Fussy with Their Clothing." So if you haven't watched, I would encourage you to find the part 1 and watch. So part 2, I'll be talking about these same children. However, I'll be talking about these children being undersensitive to touch. The previous video, I talked about children who were hypersensitive to touch. Here, I'll be discussing those children who are undersensitive or hypersensitive to touch. So keep watching. So some of our children are undersensitive to touch. So their brain is such a way that the brain is not able to receive enough information that comes from the senses of touch. What it means is, for example, unlike the other children in part 1 who are extremely sensitive to even a slight stroke, these children actually seek out more. Their brain is not able to register or receive information from the sensory input of their touch, and so they seek out more touch. They're unable to feel it when you touch or when you rub them. They don't even receive it, so they seek out more. So we call these children who are undersensitive or who are hypersensitive to touch. So how will you know your child or a child is undersensitive to touch? First of all is their pain threshold. Because they're undersensitive to touch, are not able to they're not able to feel that they're in pain, so their pain threshold is quite high. So if this child, hurt themselves or they cut themselves, they had an accident, they might not tell you, not necessarily because they cannot communicate, particularly for those who can, but they not tell you because it wasn't a big deal. I had a cut, or I'm in pain. I don't really feel that I'm in pain, so their brain is not able to tell them they're really in pain. So they have high pain threshold. They're able to tolerate pain. The second sign is that these children are quite tolerable to high temperatures, so either a very warm temperature or very cold temperature. For example, they're happy to wear 2 jumpers and a coat and a winter hat and a boot, even at 70-80 degrees. No issue for them. And you'll be like, oh gosh, I'm boiling. They aren't boiling because their body is undersensitive to it, so they're not able to tell that it's too warm and I need something lighter. Or it's extremely cold, 2 degrees, and they're happy to wear nothing or just wear a t-shirt. This is a sign that the child is undersensitive to touch. Another sign is these children enjoy rough play, very rough play or very risky physical activities and play. For example, these children can run around, can jump off the couch and jump off a wall, and they'll crash on the floor. They feel no pain at all. If you're playing with them, you see them as very rough. They'll be playing, they'll be pushing you really hard. It is hard for you, but it is absolutely all right for them because they are undersensitive to touch, and so they tend to engage in very rough play, and this is because of the reason. Another sign is that these children are described as being very clumsy because, again, they are not very much aware of personal space. So they tend to run into people or run into objects, very rough and clumsy. And so they are described, as very clumsy as a result. Another sign is when it comes to food. Again, I described food and snacks in the previous video, where our other children who are hypersensitive, are very picky with their meals. They wouldn't want meals to be mixed. For example, normally we have spaghetti bolognese. I explained that in part 1. But these children instead have a high, and they will normally go for flavorful meals. Okay, if it's spicy, they don't mind. If it's flavorful, they don't mind. Another sign is that, like I explained earlier on, these children are not aware of personal space, and this can be a challenge sometimes when you're out and about with them, and you need to keep an eye on them. I'm sure you do. If you're a parent or a carer, it can be challenging sometimes because some of these children can be in people's face and space, and you know, members of the public not always understand, will not always tolerate that. Some can touch people, you know, some can even want to hug people, strangers, and so we need to keep an eye on them as a result. So this can create a very difficult and challenging social situation for our children. Another sign is these children are happy with messy play, unlike the other children in part 1 who do not like messy play, who will avoid messy play. For example, water play, you know, Sunday play. These children are happy with messy play. They love being messy and they're happy with it. They like it because of the texture, probably of the sand. They're happy, you know, to touch it, to hold it. Some children also, and one sign is that they mouth a lot, and so the mouth means that they put anything in their mouth, not necessarily edible food, but non-edible meals. For example, pencils, rubber, whatever the child interests is, they might put that in their mouth. And this can obviously be challenging for us parents and carers. Another sign, again, is these children like deep pressure, and that's a very key, an important key for children who are undersensitive, because they're undersensitive. So they like pressure, they like the pull, they like tight hugs. Yeah, they like tight hugs. So if you were giving you a hug, you feel they deliberately squeeze it so hard, but it's because they like the tightness of it. They like to pull them. If you're playing with them, they like you to push them, pull them, rub them, massage them, anything that give them that the deep pressure helps them regulate their nervous system. And so this is one of the signs. The last sign, and there's quite a lot, but the last point on my list are these children, in terms of clothing, will prefer tight clothes. So they feel it on their skin. Very tight clothes. They go for tight clothes instead of loose clothes, unlike the other children who are hypersensitive to touch. And so this is the end of this video. This is a part 2 of the part 1, why autistic and adolescent children are, you know, picky with their meals, or, you know, fussy with their clothing. This is a part 2, so I will do a part 3 where I will share some of the strategies we can use to help manage help manage both children, so children who are hypersensitive and hypersensitive to touch. So look out for the next video where I'll discuss it, and thank you for taking time to watch this. If it's been any useful, please share it to as many as you wish, and enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. You take care. Bye.